Hey everybody, this is Doreen from Privies and Prims Needlecrafts. Welcome to my floss tube. Today's video is going to be all about cross stitch, and then at the end I'm going to talk about my retreat, which is less than 6 weeks away. And this is the t-shirts for the retreat. Here, let me get up there. And if you want one, if you're attending the retreat and you would like a t-shirt and don't have one, get in touch with me because the maker of the shirts does not have a website anymore, but we can still contact her to order shirts. I think they were $18 for short sleeve. She also has sweatshirts and long sleeve shirts. So we're going to talk about the retreat at the end of the video. For those that aren't interested, I'll let you know before we get into that. So it's been about 11 days since I did a floss tube video, and I like to do one once a week, so this is a little longer for me. But the reason for the delay is I always feel like I need to have more done so that I have enough to show on the video, because some of my videos are really short, and I think most people prefer the longer ones. And then when I'm working on something, I think, well, I have to have this finished before I do the video so I can show you the finish. But there's always ongoing things, and there's always going to be something to finish. So I'm going to show you, I do have some finishes. I have some more fabric that I bought for project bags, and some supplies, and let's get to it. So the first thing I'm going to show you is a finish, and I don't have like the pattern covers here pulled out with me. So I'm just going to tell you who the designer is because I didn't get all that done. So the first finish is an Asbury's Echo Stitches finish, and I think it's called Simple Joys. It is in her Etsy shop, and I'm seeing some glare because there's like blinds and windows open. It's a gorgeous day in the 60s, so I don't want to close up everything. So this is, she shows it on a horn book on her pattern, and I just did a simple frame and there is glass on it, so that's why there's a glare. I didn't think of that. I don't usually put glass on my cross stitches, but this is a gift, and it's going somewhere that probably would be best if it had glass. So that's why I put that on there. So it has some chickens. That's the first time I've stitched chickens. I'm not a chicken girl, but it's fitting for where it's going, which I really can't say right now because it's not there yet. So anyway, I just put it in a simple frame from a thrift store, and I always put Warm and Natural behind my stitches because I do knots and that on my threads, and that makes it not like show bumps. But the problem with this one was the frame, if you've ever seen one, it kind of fits into like a little slit down there, and then it wouldn't fit in at the top because the Warm and Natural made it too thick. So I had to actually cut this piece of cardboard because it's the stitch is then spray adhesive onto the Warm and Natural, and then the Warm and Natural is spray adhesive. I used spray adhesive to attach it to this cardboard. So I had to actually cut it at the top and just put a piece of painter's tape up there. So it doesn't look real pretty, but hopefully nobody sees the back. And so that is just a simple finish on that one. And that's just a thrift store frame, which turned out to be the right color brown because it matches the hair and the basket and stuff. So that's Asbury's Echo Stitches, and she has a floss tube channel, Facebook page, and Etsy shop. And I will link down below. Hey guys, I decided to change the frame on this, and this frame is from a thrift store, but it's kind of like a wood grain look, and I thought it was gray, but now it's looking kind of bluish, but I thought that it matched really well with the cross stitch, and I want to tell you the story of why I made this. I am giving it to them today, and as far as I know, they don't watch my videos anyway. But my sister-in-law owns a store in Bakersfield, North Carolina, and it's called Just Local. And Bakersfield, North Carolina had some devastation from Hurricane Helene and a lot of flooded farms. And her store sells local foods, which is why it's called Just Local. So they have baked goods, they have, someone makes bagels, someone makes sweets, some farmers bring in vegetables. My brother raises cattle for the beef. So it's all local foods, which is why it's called Just Local.
So a lot of the farmers, their fields got just devastated from the flood, and they can't grow in that dirt anymore because it's toxic from what washed down the river and got in their soil. So they cannot, grow food there anymore. So it's really hurt the store and everything. But her store is, excuse me, kind of like a little gathering place for the town. It's a very, very small town. And people come there, and she's got a big table where they can sit and visit and have something to eat, to snack on. It's not a restaurant. But so I thought this would be good for there, just to kind of give them something in all the sadness and loss, because lives were lost too, to just say, look for the joys in life. And I thought that this pattern was perfect for that, and I'm hoping that she will like it and hang it on the wall in her store. It is an 8 by 10, and it is a mystery linen. I'm not sure. It's some kind of even weave, but I'm not sure what it is. I got it at a thrift store. So that is the story of this cross stitch.
Okay, the next finish is, I think this is Country Rustic Primitives on Etsy. And this is a simple finish. And I got this idea from Teresa Kogut. I know people always say great idea, but it's not my original idea. So then you can just display it like that. And it's just an old book. I don't even know where I got it. Life of Sir Walter Raleigh. And then I just used spray adhesive and stuck it to the book. And if I turn it like that, do you see all those bumps? Or is that bumps or is that just thread? I don't know. But in person, you don't see it. Just on the film there. Anyway, that might be where my knots are. Not sure. But again, you don't see that in person at all. But typically I would have put Warm and Natural behind that. But so there's a real simple finish. I use spray adhesive, or you could put it on a piece of mat board and then put the mat board onto the book, which is, I think, how Teresa did it. So one thing I want to show you, I'll go away from finishes for a minute because I have several. And I did do a video. It's a short video showing all the finishes that I did in January. And those were all patterns that I started and finished in January. And I think there were 12 or 13 of them. So if you haven't seen that, go back and look at that one. This is a punch needle pattern that is in my Etsy shop. And I think it's only a couple dollars. I probably need to shut the door over there that's shining the light on it. Anyway, it's just a real simple, very good for beginners. Let me get the lighting right. And the light, actually, I can tell you where this light's coming from. It's coming from the stained glass windows. So I have no control over that. So I just put this is a piece of cut up linen clothes that I stitched on the back to cover the opening where I stuffed it. So that in my Etsy shop, I'll put the link down below. Great for Valentine's Day. Or if you're not doing Valentine's Day, you could do this any colors that you want. It's just 2 colors, DMC. Just choose 2 colors. So another punch needle I finished, and this is not Forgotten Farm. And I'm not sure if I showed this last time or not. I'm trying to get out of that bright light. This is punch needle, and it's going to be, oh my gosh, I have to remember not to do videos at this time of day anymore. This is going to be a needle book, and it's a Not Forgotten Farm pattern. So this is all done with Faldani. I think I showed this before. There's the back of it. But I just haven't made it into anything. And then another finish. This is also Not Forgotten Farm, and it's a needle book. If I stay back here, I don't get that bright light. This one also has to be made into a needle book. And I think I showed this before also. But this is the Nate Berkus upholstery linen from Joann's. It's 36 count. And it's all stitched with DMC. So this is just a matter of me going up into the loft and finishing things. But first I have to read the directions. I've been thinking about, if you followed my cabin videos, like you know how things are laid out in here, there's no room for a table up in the loft. So I have to sit on the floor. Like if I'm doing any sewing or cutting, well, I have a desk that the sewing machine is at, but that's the only table space I have up there. So if I'm cutting, you know, like on the those mats that you use for quilting, if I'm doing that to make a project bag, or to like when I trim this and then, you know, cut the fabric for the backing of it, I'm kneeling on the floor doing that because there's no place for a table up there. There's no room. And I may do like a folding card table, but then that's not really firm enough to be like using cutters and stuff. So I'm just trying to figure things out. But I've actually considered putting my bed in the loft and then just put the craft room down in the bedroom. Because during the day, I might go in the bedroom once or twice, but I am up and down those steps to the loft all the time. And it's more like a ladder than it is a stairway. You have to really hold on. I do anyway, because I don't want to fall. It's pretty steep, you know. It's like this. So that's just something I'm thinking about. But then I'd probably have to put like a chamber pot up there for the middle of the night because I would not want to do those steps in the middle of the night. And you know, I probably won't do this. It's just a thought because I didn't think I'd be up there as much as I am. And I even have my cabinet here that I put all my cross stitch stuff in so that I wouldn't have to go up there. But then when I'm finishing, when I'm doing the finishing, I still have to go up there. So I'm up and down all the time. And it just bothers me because I don't think it's real safe. So for an older person, anyway, for me. So, but it's good exercise, I guess. Anyway, it's just things you figure out when you move into a new space. You have to think what works, you know, and what doesn't. So, all right, let's get back to this. So here's the pattern for the needle book. So, and here's the pattern for Simple Joys. So she has on this one, you'll see she's got those 2 white chickens are buttons, and she tells you, you know, where to get them. But the chart it's charted for the chickens because somebody asked me that on Facebook. They said, you know, well, do we have to, you know, use the buttons? And I'm going to show you. It is charted for the button for the chickens, so they're on there. So don't worry about that if you want to stitch them instead of getting the buttons. I prefer them stitched. Okay, let me see what else I have. I got some more fabric. Oh, I have a couple more. These are little freebie finishes, and I'll try to find them again because I printed these a long time ago. And I'll try to find them and post the link down in the description box. And I'm just thinking, like, you know, if you watch Pam and Steph on Just Keep Stitching, everything is so organized. And they have this section and then this section. And me, I just put it all on the couch and I'm just picking it up as it goes. So I am so mixed up compared to theirs. But if you haven't watched Pam and Steph, Just Keep Stitching is their channel, and they post a video every Sunday night. So it's usually pretty late on Sunday night. So I usually watch it on Mondays. But yeah, check them out if you haven't already. They are the ones that Stephanie works at Keepsake's Cross Stitch store, and they do StitchCon. Okay, so this one, and let me sure I'm making the right one. Now these are freebies, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the pattern. This one is from subrosablogspot.com, and it says welcome spring, and you see all the bunnies and flowers. Now I didn't do that many of them, and I changed colors. So this is mine here, and the colors that I used are here if you want to screenshot that. And here it is again. So that's just going to be, you know, like a little bowl filler or pin keep. Let me get the lighting. There we go. So that is on subrosablogspot.com. And again, I'll try to find the exact link to this pattern because she's got more free patterns on there. And then the next one is Primitive Betty's. Now, Primitive Betty's, she has a lot of freebies also, and she used to sell cross stitch on Etsy, but her shop is temporarily closed. She said she's not sure if she's going to even open it again. So this is a freebie that's on her website. And I will link that down below. It says Tulip Time, and there is my colors that I used. Because I don't think it gives you colors. I think you just use what you want. And here is my finish for that. Let's see. There we go. The font is I apologize for this lighting. There. The font is a little hard to read. Trying to get it just right. There we go. Okay. So I will link those down below. Let's see. I have another finish. And this one is from Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher Magazine 2017 Christmas Winter issue. And it's called Chili. Not the chili you eat, the chili like cold. And this is by Teresa's Primitive Treasures, and she is on Etsy. But if you have the magazines, it's the Christmas Winter 2017 of Punch Needle Primitive Stitcher Magazine. And this is my little finish. Let me see. Where can I show it? This is so aggravating. Will not do this again. The linen I used on this, and you can't, maybe there it shows the color. It's called, there we go. It's Dove, and it's Weeks Dye Works Swigart 36 count. And that is the true color right there. So, and then the trim around the outside is just a chenille. And that's from Purple Paper Mountain on Etsy. And on the back, I haven't completely finished it yet. I'll put my little label will actually cover that. But that's just a little bowl filler. So I hot glued this on, and I got a little messy with it. I don't know if you can see it, but you can see some of the glue across there, which bothers me. And I was thinking actually about selling this one, but now I won't sell it because that little bit of glue shows up there. And I mean, it's clear, but you can still see it. So I don't like to sell things like that. All right, let me see what else I have. Here's a freebie that is from Hands On Design. And I'm told like it's their anniversary. And every year, I just learned about this. Every year they have a free pattern for their anniversary. And this is the one for this year. And I will see if I can find a link because I printed this like a week or two ago. But it says, "You have my heart. I'm not in a relationship, don't want to be in a relationship." So I think that this would be pretty actually with the top part. Take the design all the way up and leave the words off. And just do that quilt design all the way for the whole front of the heart. That was my thought about if I stitch it. So, and then it has a template also for you to do it and tells you how to do it. It's 5 inches at the widest and tallest point. If you use 32 count or 16 count Ada. Yeah. So I'll try to find the link for that. So I've got to do some searching for links. All right. I have, oh, here's, I guess I did have the patterns out. Here is the Country Rustic Primitives pattern. So I left the name off the bottom. I just didn't want that. It says Nellie H. And I'll show you mine again. I left that off, and then there's like that key across the bottom, and I moved it. And you probably can't even see. All right, see under the peacock on here is the key. And then on mine, I moved it to under the flowers. Just so that it would be, everything would be, you know, in proportion and equaled out right. So this is something I bought on eBay. It's kind of on a needlebook kit. Let me get it out of the bag. It's La-Di-Da. And I think I would make the bottom one. I'm not crazy about the dress on the top one, but I think I'm going to make the bottom one. I'm not sure. But it came with the linen. and I'm not sure what the linen is. Let me get the color. There's the color right there. That's the piece. It calls for 36 count parchment by Weeks Dye Works, and that might be what this is because it does have the orange stripe on the selvage, but that's the color right there. So just because, you know, I mean, it didn't come with the threads, but it did come with the linen, which is the more expensive part, and it was a good price. So I did order that from Etsy. My plan was to like have a needle book for each project bag. What, you know, but then I have to actually do it. I have to get actually up in the loft and sew them. I don't know if I talked about it on a video or not, but I got a foot for my sewing machine that has a 1/4-inch guide on it. And so I could do straight lines when I make project bags, because for some reason I can't, even using a piece of tape there, I cannot get a straight line. So I did order a foot that just like snaps, you know, it like you take your foot off the sewing machine and then this one just snaps on. And it has a 1/4-inch like thing that the fabric butts against. And so it keeps it at a 1/4-inch. Well, the problem with that was I didn't catch, let me show you what I made. I think it's in here. It should be. Okay, here it is. So I made just a little thread bed, and that's it. Just a piece of wool in the middle. So I made this little thread bed with Warm and Natural on here, and the problem was when I folded it, or it might have happened on another one and not this one, but I'm not sure. Anyway, when I folded this down, I didn't fold it the same on all of it. So when I did the 1/4-inch, it didn't, I think it was a different one I made. It didn't catch, and so that when you open it up, like you see the raw edge of the fabric there because it didn't catch it. So I would have liked to gone over and done a little, excuse me, another row of stitching just like a hair away from it. So it was like a double line and that would have caught it, but I couldn't with the 1/4-inch. So I went online and I ordered from Amazon, and I'll post the link for this. I haven't even opened it, but let me get it. It was only $3 and something. So this one is, the other one was only $2. So it's adjustable. And let me find something white to put behind it. Here it is. So you can see, like, there's a little bar on there that sewing machine clips to. And then this is adjustable for how wide you want your seam. So I haven't tried it yet, but like I said, it was only like $3 and something. So I'll put the link for that and the 1/4-inch one down in the description box. I did try the 1/4-inch one. It does work. It does help. But I did want something that I could adjust to do a different width. My sewing machine, they do sell magnetic ones, but my sewing machine on each side of the middle plate is plastic. It has a plastic plate there. So I can't use the magnetic ones because it would, of course, stick to the plastic. So this, I'll go back to this. This is Teresa Kogut fabric that I made that with. This is the bag that Dot Dot Goose made for me. Well, not made for me. I ordered it from her Etsy shop. But the inside, I've got it full here. The inside is the same fabric as this, which you don't even see when this is full. I wish it was like on the outside. And then I have a little thing here that someone gave me at my retreat, which I'm not even sure that you can see it, but it's a little patriotic thing. So this goes into one of my current whips. I have 2 whips. I will have 3 today. So I also made, the day before yesterday, before I show you the whip, I made this little notions bag to match. So I have like the whole set. And then I had another one of the little patriotic things to hang on it. So I used Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch tutorial on YouTube. And the tutorial was for a regular size project bag, and then I just made it smaller. So this one is actually finished size 5x7. I think the next one I make will be 6x8, just a little bit bigger, because when you have like the fancy floss in there, it kind of takes up more room because their tags seem to be bigger, but this works. And so I like having this rather than having my threads all just dropped in the bag. And I don't use floss drops. I like them bobbinated. So so fancy floss, I just leave it on the tag it came with. So this is my whip I am doing With Thy Hands by Teresa Kogut. And I'm changing it to With My Hands. And I said this on my last video, but this is a free, okay, it's not on this part. On her website, she has a section on her website that says pattern corrections on teresakogut.com. And under the pattern corrections, and I'm going to show you this because it's on her website, it's free. She has this. So you can do With My Hands, which is what I did. And then you can, instead of IV wrought, you can just put I wrought. But I think I'm going to put IV wrought. I'm going to leave that part. And then, but I did change it to say With My Hands because I'm the one that's stitching it. So this is my whip. Whip is work in progress. And this is what I have done so far. It's really pretty. So yesterday I went to a stitching group in Waynesville, North Carolina. They're called Second Saturday Stitchers, and we meet at the United Methodist Church in Waynesville. And I had the house, like the roof and the windows and the door done. And then part of the top of the red done, but I left the rest as fill-in because that fill-in is great when you're in a stitching group and you're talking, so you don't have to concentrate trying to get that glare off. And then I did the one hand I did the night before I went, and then so last night I finished the red on the house and the other hand. So that's what's done so far. And I started this is the first one I've actually like kept track of when I started and everything. I started it, I have it written down, but I think it was January 28th. So if I worked on this monogamously, which I normally would do, it may have been done already. But this, and this is the linen that the model was stitched on. It is Winter's Brew by R&R. It's a little stiffer than I prefer because I stitch in hand and I do the sewing method. And when I first got it, when I did this top part across here and I did like a full day of stitching, my fingers got sore, from doing the sewing method. But it's softening up now because I do stitch in hand and I'm bunching it up all the time. So it is softening up some. And so I'm going to keep working on that. But I did want to do something, like in between. So I did like those two little freebie smalls that I did for spring. I did those two in one day. I was in really bad back pain after moving some stuff around at a friend's house. And I guess I pulled a muscle on my back and it was pretty painful. So I just sat in my recliner with the heating pad and the ice pack and stuff. So those two spring ones got done in one day. They were really quick and simple. So, anyway, so instead of just keep doing this one monogamously, I'm breaking it up with doing other little things in between. So let's see what else I have. Today is Super Bowl Sunday, and I think it was Tara Sullivan said that they were doing stand-up bowl. It's hashtag stand-up bowl. And that you would start something today that is a stand-up. So the one she mentioned was, Teresa Kogut's Blue Coat Santa, which I bought at Jingle Ball. And then she mentioned animal crackers. And I don't really, the only animal cracker I've ever done was the snowman. But I did buy this one last year, right after market, the needlework market. And so this is the only other one I have, and it's really the only other one I would want. But I decided to do this one. So I have it kitted up in my little bag. So this was my first attempt at doing project bags. I'm going to cover this because part of the pattern's there. So this is the front. This was a fat quarter I found in a quilt shop, and it was the last of the fabric. And then when I turned it over, when I was done, it was like, oops, it's upside down. So it's supposed to be that way. You know, cute little vintage campers, which is perfect for spring. So this one definitely would not be sold because it's upside down. So I want to show you what I did because the pattern is black and white, and I feel like everything runs together on black and white. So what I did is took colored pencils, and each symbol I colored a different color, and that's how it's going to make it easier for me, especially like, I don't know if you can see it in here, but her dress has like little speckles in it. And so there's two different colors in those speckles, and everything just kind of blends together. So that's what I did. I used colored pencils. So there's an idea for you. I prefer colored charts. And I also kitted this up. And this one is not started yet, but it's Country Rustic Primitives, Merry Spring. I don't think I showed this last time. It's in her Etsy shop, Country Rustic Primitives. It was either $7 or $8. And I'm going to do that one in on the Nate Berkus fabric is what I have for that one. So that's a plan. Everything should have a title, right? Okay, I have some more fabric, so, and then I have more finishes and more stuff to talk about. So on my last floss tube, I showed you this that someone had made for me. If you didn't watch that, I'll show you again. This is like a little travel thing. This is like a thread bed. It's flannel, so the threads stick to it. And then you have the zipper pouch, and this can hang on the arm of your chair. This is a pin cushion, and it feels like it's stuffed with walnut shells. So I wanted to make a project bag to match because I just love the primitive look of this. And it has little tiny sheep on it. And I contacted her. Yeah, I think I said this on the last video anyway, that I was able to find the fabric. They had one fat quarter left of the sheep fabric, and it's on its way here. This is the other fabric on the trim. So I found, you know, she told me what store she got this at, and I ordered a half a yard of that. So I will be able to make the project bag as soon as the rest gets there. And I won't have perfectly straight lines, but it's okay because it's just for me. And, oh, I should tell you, somebody, you know, I asked on the last video if you wanted me to tell you what fabric I use or what the fabric is called. And somebody said yes. A couple people actually said they were quilters. So that was helpful to them. And this, I can't, it's actually because of where it's cut. This is all that's all I have because of where it's cut. But let me see if it's on here on my receipt. Williamsburg American Heritage Tonal Circles Red. So that's Williamsburg American Heritage Tonal Circles Red. And that, oh, it's right across here. If that's clear, let me see. And I got it at a place called Valley Quilts, valleyquilts.com in Hamilton, Ohio. And then the other one I got is Homestead Gatherings House Paper Bag Red. I think paper bag would be the color of the background. So this is called Homestead Gatherings House, and it's in the color red. And it says there's no place like home. Isn't that gorgeous? That's going to make an awesome, there's the color. That's going to make a really nice project bag. And I may have got, I think it feels thicker. I think I got a yard of this. Yeah, I got a half a yard of this and a full yard of this. So this was $10.99 a yard. And the other one, this one was $8.99 a yard. And then you have shipping was $8.99, which I thought was high. But I wanted it. And so that's what I paid. The other fabric, and I don't remember where this one came from. But if you're interested, contact me and I'll let you know. This is Gatherings by Primitive Gatherings for Moda. And it has little stars on it. But there's the wording. And there's the color right there. So these are going to make some awesome primitive pattern bags. And oh, seasonal gatherings. Here we go. And I'm going to do the thread bed, the notions bag, and the project bag all to match. Excuse me. I'm very ambitious, aren't I? Let's see if it actually happens. I have all the stuff. And then staying with fabric, but I still have more finishes, so don't leave yet. I wanted something for spring, but I wanted primitive. And, you know, like this stuff is great. It's primitive, but it's not like spring. So I went to a little quilt shop in Greenville, Tennessee, and I was just walking around looking. They just moved to a new location, and I saw this, and I thought this would be perfect. It's kind of like a really dark gray, and has the wording at the bottom. So it's got the birds and the aqua color, but it's a very muted aqua. So to me, I really like it. I think it's about as primitive as I'm going to get and still be spring because I don't want bright colors. And then this is the fat quarter that will be the inside of the project bag and the notions bag. So the pretty fabric's on the outside. And then my friend Lois saw this one that matches. And so that'll be that one. So that is Modern Prairie Jacqueline Schmidt for P&B Textiles. So, all right, let me see what else I have. I have a finish. I think I showed you this last time, but it wasn't completely finished. Like it was finished stitching, but not FFO'd, which is fully finished object. So I'm going to take this out of the package. This is Brenda Gervais, the Maker and Mender. And it says, the needle, be it though so slim and slender, is both a maker and a mender. So this, I don't think I showed this last time, but this is my finish. So what I did is the frame, I found it at my mom's house, and it had an old cross stitch in it that had slid down, and it was signed on the back, but she didn't even know who the person was that signed it. She couldn't even remember. It was from 1991. But it was just like a natural wood color frame. So I painted it this muted blue because I'm trying to bring more blue into my house. And there's the blues in here. So I painted it the muted blue and then antiqued it with, and people ask me like how I antique it. I just water down brown paint, like burnt umber or like a dark brown, water it down, brush it on, and then wipe it off. That's all I do. It's just a little acrylic paint you buy at Walmart. And then, but the frame, I need it 9 by 13, and this was 10 by 13. So it was an inch too high here for it to be evened out with what was on the sides. So, Helen D, I think it was, somebody told me to watch her video because she showed putting fabric at the bottom. But also at my last retreat, Kathy Gainey, and she is on Instagram, Gainey, and it's CATHI. She showed, she shows a lot of primitives, but she showed, she brought something for the brag table that had fabric at the, I think it was on the side, and then she did like a ribbon there. So I had the idea, you know, with Helen D doing it, and I need to push that in right there. Anyway, I went through all my fabrics, and this was the only one, the brown was the one that really matched the best. And then this is an olive green rickrack from, I think it's from Purple Paper Mountain. But there's the finish, and I absolutely love this one. I am super happy with it. It's so muted. Some of the colors I did change, like because here the fabric I used, the original color that was called for wouldn't show up. So I had to change it, but that is my finish for that. And it's just on a piece of core board, the foam core board on the back with Warm and Natural behind it. And I just, if you're new here, I'll tell you how I do it. And it's not how everybody would want to do it. I take, like, if this had glass in it, so I can use that glass as a template, and I just cut it to that exact size. And then I use spray adhesive to attach it to the Warm and Natural, and then use spray adhesive to attach the Warm and Natural to this. And that's a really simple, cheap way to frame it. But, it's not museum grade. It's not going to last for centuries, but it's just for me for my wall. So that is my favorite finish of these. And then this one is Pineberry Lane. And I don't remember what it's called, and I don't have the pattern here with me. But Pineberry Lane right now has her patterns 15% off with a code. You sign up for her newsletter, and she'll send you the code, and you get 15% off all her patterns, I think until the end of February. So this one, if you look at my Facebook page, Privies and Prims, go on there and follow me there. These are sheep, and they were supposed to be white, but it didn't really show up good, so I changed it to tan. But the tails were long, the backs were different. They really looked like dogs, and I had to alter them. And I did change some colors, so but I don't have the original pattern here with me to show you. The trim, the mini pom-pom is from Purple Paper Mountain on Etsy. And then I just used some cotton that I already had on the back and put my label on it. And you can, whoops, throw it across the table. You can see here the edge of the fabric. I just cut a piece of that fabric and then just kind of glued it on there. And then this is iron on. And that's how I finished it. But that is a cute little pillow. This one may go into my Etsy shop. I'm not sure. I have to see how much spring stuff I have. Because I'm running out of room. I have not a lot of room here to display, but I still want to stitch. So I'm going to be doing some little things, like the 2 little spring pillows will go into my Etsy shop. But yeah, forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, let me see what else I have. These little things I got at Hobby Lobby yesterday. Sawtooth hangers, and you don't need nails with them, and they're different sizes. And if I can get that glare off, you just put them on there and hammer them on, which is what I use. It has 6 small and 6 large, and they were $2.99. So I'll tell you a story. I was kitting up threads for this. If you have not seen this Teresa Kogut pattern, it's a fundraiser for a little boy with cancer, and it's $10 in her Etsy shop. And I wanted to support them. The money goes to the family of the little boy. My son is 32, and he's a cancer survivor. He had Ewing sarcoma when he was 7, and he's been cancer-free since 2021. 2001. So I wanted to support them, but I didn't really want this for my house. So I decided to purchase it, and then it's going to be a door prize at my retreat. So I wanted to get all the DMC threads for it. It's not going to have the linen because everybody uses something different, but it will have all the threads. So so that way I was still able to contribute, but it won't just sit here because I won't stitch it. So anyway, I go in, I was going to say AC Moore, Hobby Lobby, and I got all the threads. I think there was like maybe 8 or 10 threads. I had a list, and I got these 2 packs, and these were the last 2 packs. And these were right outside of the bathroom. So then I had to go to the bathroom. So you can't take this stuff in with you. So I saw a shelf there outside the bathroom hallway, and I laid the stuff down. I go in, I go to the bathroom, I come back out, my stuff is gone. Well, one of the DMCs was the last one. There was only one of that color. So immediately I looked over to where these were, and these were back on the peg rack. So I knew that it was an employee that had picked it up. They weren't paid for, so it's not like somebody else is going to pick them up. So then I went to the threads, and I'm hoping that, she's there and she's putting them back and I can just get them from her, but she wasn't there. So I had to re-pull all the threads. But the one, I had gotten the last one, so it wasn't there. So I went up front to customer service and I'm telling, the customer service lady, I have a problem and, this is what happened. And the cashier overheard me and she said, "Oh, I picked them up and they're over there in that buggy." I call them shopping carts down here. A lot of people say buggies. Um, but it was like laying on one of the shopping carts and she had put them there. She said, "We're so used to people just changing their mind and laying stuff down," and she picked them up. So I was able to get the one thread that it was the last one. I said I would not want to have to come back just for one thread. It's like a 30-minute ride. So that was my little fun story yesterday. So I have another whip I'm gonna show you, and we're almost done with this stuff. So this is on the Facebook group Homespun Needlework. They are doing on the 25th of each month, you stitch something Christmas. And this is O Tannenbaum, which is what I'm doing. This is my working copy because this is going to get really marked up. It's going to be a while to stitch on this one. Oh, let me hold that longer. I was watching some videos this week and they just kind of went like that. By the time I look up for my stitching, the pattern's gone. So tell me if I'm not holding them up there long enough, but I love the sheep with the sleigh. That's like my favorite part of this. So that's the one I decided to start first. And a very generous friend gifted me the linen. And this is Picture This Plus Legacy. And this is the whole piece here. So it should hold all 6 of the patterns. But I started this and to take, like when I go to a stitch group, so I can just fill it in. So, but I didn't even get to it yesterday at the stitch group because I was still filling in the other house. And I don't know if you're like me, like you think you're going to get so much done and you take all this with you and like this didn't even get touched because the house didn't even get finished. So I think that is it. I want to know, actually answer the question for me this week because I talked about like going up into the loft and working. Let me know if you have a craft room. Like, do you have a dedicated craft space? Have you done like in my apartment that I moved from to move here? I had like an L-shaped living room, and I don't, because it had a dining area, and I don't eat like at a kitchen table. I eat sitting in my recliner. So because I'm by myself, so I put my bed is a twin bed, and I put it in the dining room area, and I'll link below. There's a video showing how I had it set up, and it kind of looked like a studio apartment. And the videos like says, "Where do I sleep?" So then I turned the bedroom, because it was a 1-bedroom apartment. The bedroom was my craft room, which is kind of another version of what I'm thinking about doing here, about putting the bed upstairs and making the bedroom the craft room, because I'm just in and out of there so much more in the loft than I would, than I am the bedroom. So, I mean, I get dressed in the bedroom and I'm probably not back in there for the rest of the day until I go to bed. So it would just make better use of that space, but I'm just not sure if I want to do that or not. But so let me know, like, what do you do for your craft room? So I'll be right back. I need to get something. Okay, so if you have not subscribed yet, half of you that watch are not subscribed, and it is totally free. So just hit that subscribe button for me and hit that thumbs up and leave me a comment. Let me know about your craft room situation. And now I'm going to start talking about my retreat. So if you're going to leave, I thank you for coming. Thank you for watching, and just happy stitching. So, all right. So my retreat, I do 2 retreats a year, and they are in Waynesville, North Carolina, which is it's very close to Asheville, if you know where Asheville is, Western North Carolina. So I have one in March and one in September. It is sold out in March, and we don't book September until after the March one. But the March one is sold out, and I have a waiting list. So I probably won't even get to the waiting list because I overbooked it to begin with. Because last year 10 people canceled. So this year I have I wanted to be at 40, and I have like 54 booked. So I probably won't even get to the waiting list. But so it is at a campground. So that is why it's called Campin' and Stitchin', because it's at a campground. But they have a building there, and it's at Pride RV Family Campground and RV Resort or something. I'm not sure the right name, but They have a lot of rentals there because they do a lot of square dance. They have a group that comes in that does, like, I don't know if it's conventions or what, but they do square dancing. So there's a beautiful building there that they have weddings at. You can rent it for parties, and it holds over 200 people. It has like windows all the way around, so the lighting is fantastic. It's, air conditioned, heated. So we go there, and then the ones that have campers, we camp, and then the ones that don't have campers stay in the rentals. They have like park models, little cabins, they have little apartments. And then Maggie Valley is 5 miles down the road, and there's tons of motels down there. So it works out for everybody, whether you have a camper or not. And then we meet in that building for 2.5 days. So I went there yesterday because, we did have Hurricane Helene. And yesterday I was in Waynesville for the stitching group, and I went over to the campground and checked it out. And the only damage that I saw was, if you've been there, at the retreat, and you know where we had the campfire at down by the creek, that is all river rock now. That grass is gone. The grass and dirt is gone. It's completely all river rock. So personally, I wouldn't even want to walk on it because it's just like this. It's completely just big river rocks. So there are still fire rings that they have made out of the rocks in the middle of it, but there's no, like, you couldn't put your chair there or anything. But there are some, I think there was one fire pit down, like there's a little pond down where the tent sites were, and that area still has some grass. But the other part, the campsites look fine, but the part where we had the campfire it's completely changed. Excuse me. So I just wanted to update you on that in case you're going to the retreat or had been there before and were wondering about that. As far as I saw, that was the damage that happened there. The smallest theme for the March retreat is flowers. So you can stitch anything with a flower. It can be Christmas with a poinsettia. It can be fall with a sunflower. It can be anything, just as long as it has a flower on it. And it should be small, like 6x6, with no extra things. Like, don't put little gadgets, little candies or anything. I try to keep it fair for everybody because some people can't afford to add in extras. So I just ask that everybody not put extras in, just put your the smallest thing that you actually make. So I just have a list here that I just made so I don't forget anything. In 2026, we will go to the spring retreat, will be weekdays from Tuesday to Friday. And then the fall retreat will still be on a weekend, like Thursday to Sunday. And that I'm doing because, and that's what I did the first year, but I'm doing that because there are some people that can't come on weekends. And so they're going to miss like both retreats this year, and they really want to come. So I'm going to do that so that it gives an opportunity for everybody. There's some that can't come on weekdays and some that can't come on weekends. So hopefully they get to at least come once to one of the retreats a year. And the fall retreat for this year, the theme will be snowmen. So, and I keep all this on my Facebook page. So if you're on Facebook, follow me at Privies and Prims, and you'll see all that. I post on there every single day. Like, usually every night before I go to bed, I'll post my stitching progress for that day. Last September at the last retreat, we had, I think, 39 people there. And when we all got home, several people were sick, and 13 that I know of tested positive for COVID. So this year we are going to have a bottle of sanitizer on each table. They're round tables. We'll have a pump bottle of sanitizer. And then I think the big culprit is the potluck. When we have a potluck dinner the first night and everybody is handling the same serving utensils. So we'll also have a bottle of sanitizer at the beginning of the food table. And we will be asking everybody to sanitize their hands really good before they start touching the serving utensils. If you are not feeling well, please be considerate. And if you think you may even possibly have COVID, please don't come or test yourself. Mine, I was one of the ones that had COVID, and it just felt like a bad cold. And if other people hadn't have been sick, I would have never tested myself because I just thought I had a bad cold. So, you may think you just have allergies or sinus infection, but you may have COVID. And like one of the local, there's so much stuff going around right now. One of our churches is not having church today because there's so many people with the flu. And I heard a lady say yesterday that like a school shut down because so many people were sick. So there's a lot of stuff going around. So the best thing I can do is, if you're welcome to wear a mask if you want to. Nobody's going to say anything about it. Everybody needs to take care of themselves, but just please be considerate of the other people if you're not feeling well. T-shirts I talked about. I will contact me if you wanted a t-shirt because I'll get you in contact with the person. She was supposed to send me some information and I haven't gotten it yet, so I need to remind her. So if you wanted a t-shirt, because we do like a group picture with the t-shirts on, send me an email at priviesandprims@yahoo.com or contact me on Instagram at Doreen Brannan. It's BRANNAN .priviesandprims, and I'll get you in touch with her. We are going to do the left, right, center game again with the floss. So if you're coming, please bring 3 embroidery floss in spring colors, and those will be used for the game. We are having barbecue catered. What kind of catered? Like you buy, it's $12. I think it's $12 a plate. I'll have to confirm that. But I talked to Wanda yesterday, and it's her husband that cooks it out on the smoker right there at the campground. And last September it was $12. I think it was 12. It might have been 15. I'm not sure. I'll have to check on that. But anyway, it's Friday night. Like you don't have to worry about cooking if you want the barbecue and everybody said it was like really good. Thursday night, the first night, it will be potluck. And then I think that's it. So I hope everybody's having a great time. A lot of stitching done. We are going to have heavy rains again this week. So pray for Western North Carolina because the hurricane hit really hard here. I'm 45 minutes from Asheville, and Asheville, Swannanoa, Bat Cave. I'm in Burnsville. We got a lot of flood damage, and people's houses washed away. Families, just washed away in the flood. There was one family of 11 people. So there are temporary bridges built. There are people living in campers. There are people that turned sheds into a shelter to sleep in. That is still going on. It's not on the news anymore, but it is still here. There are some people in cars because they don't want to leave their property. And so they're sleeping in a car. There are some people in tents because they don't want to leave their property. There are people in what they call hot tents, where it's like a bell tent with a wood stove in it. It's whatever they can do to have shelter. So pray, still keep them in your prayers. And this week we're having heavy rains Tuesday through Thursday. And they're saying some of these temporary bridges may just be gone from this rain. So definitely don't forget about Western North Carolina and East Tennessee. There's also areas in East Tennessee. It's not as widespread there, but there's also devastation over there. So it's not over. I know all this horrible stuff with the planes is taking the news and all the election stuff. But don't forget to keep these people in your prayers in North Carolina and Tennessee. So that is it, everybody. Let me know about your craft room. What do you do? What do you think about me switching it over and sleeping upstairs and putting the craft room downstairs? So tell me your opinion on that. And I will see you on the next video. Bye, everybody.